welcome to Fossil Arcade, a small YouTube channel about small things. Alex, what do you think?
Fuzzy.
Oh, we're looking at the Game Gear Micro, which is the tiny Game Gear, which has one game on each. Four games on each.
So these came out about a week ago at the time of recording. They released 4 of these in Japan. So you got a black one, a blue one, a yellow one, and a red one. I've imported the black and the blue one. So these
you can't get across how small this is.
That's the thing, is no matter how many photographs you look at until you see it in person. So on the black one, you've got Sonic the Hedgehog, Puyo Puyo 2, OutRun, and then a Japanese RPG called Royal Stone, which is sort of like a Fire Emblem type game. So it's like a tactics thing. You have a map and you move characters around, and that's quite a varied selection of 3 different genres. Same thing on the blue one. You've got Sonic and Tails, Gunstar Heroes, an action RPG, Sylvan Tale, which is again all in Japanese, and then this quite bizarre but really good puzzle game called Baku Baku Animal Feeding Championship. And it's like this drop-down puzzle game where food and animal faces drop down, and if you pair the animal to the food they like, they'll gobble it all up and like clear the screen.
No columns though.
Well, that's the thing. The red system has 2 RPGs on it, which are the last Bible games, and then it's got the Game Gear Shinobi and columns. So that's a little bit of variety, but it's more pointed towards those 2 RPGs, people who like Last Bible, and those are Japanese exclusive RPGs that like I have no interest in and would not be able to fully enjoy. And then the yellow Game Gear was literally just a Shining Force Game Gear, where it had 3 Shining Force games on there, and then a Puyo Puyo RPG where you play Puyo Puyo, but you're like collecting ingredients for a curry, which looked great. But yeah, it just wasn't worth getting those because of all the text. The text density would have been too much to get along with them. What's your initial impression of that screen size?
It's not a small. It actually holds a lot of detail.
It's very
surprisingly.
Yeah, I think it's actually better than you would expect. So you say, if you pre-ordered all 4 in Japan, all 4 colours, they gave you an additional accessory which is called this big window. But because I only bought 2, I didn't get that. They only gave you the big window mode if you bought all of them together, which would be really expensive. But if you do want an extra bit of help to see it, I have bought some apparatus that we can try. We've got 5 stages of magnification here.
What is this meant to be used for?
I think it's for dentists.
That is completely blurry.
Once you hold the Game Gear in front of it,
oh, of course, because it's
has to focus on that. What? It's better, isn't it?
Yes, it's perfect. Before we brought out this dentist equipment, I was going to say, the screen actually, it feels like it probably isn't that great for your eyesight. If you did extended play, you would probably be in trouble. But actually, it's surprisingly clear.
Yeah, I've been playing mostly the Sonic games because Sonic the Hedgehog on there is exactly the same as the Master System Sonic, and that's the one I used to play when I was a kid.
We had it as well.
And I've also been playing a lot of OutRun on here. It's quite difficult. OutRun's difficult anyway, I find. It takes a lot of practice, every version of OutRun. But there is an added difficulty, I think, because it's on such a small screen. What do you think of the D-pad and the buttons?
When I first started, I thought, this is quite small and clearly, and difficult to control. But actually, you get used to it surprisingly quickly, and it's kind of just the right size. It couldn't be any smaller, definitely. But it's surprisingly precise. Actually, I've got to stop looking at you because the adjustment to go back to the close-up is playing havoc on my eyes.
Why don't you try a different game as well? You can swap in that.
I'm really enjoying this Sonic though, because we grew up with. This is the one. Doesn't this have Jungle Zone?
Yes.
Jungle Zone. The music in Jungle Zone. Just one of the best. So I'm just on the bonus stage.
The stage design on the special stages is not that great, but overall I would rate this Sonic the Hedgehog game more highly than the actual original Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on Mega Drive. I prefer this as a game. But yeah, this one has got Gunstar Heroes on it, which is an extremely difficult game at the best of times, but then on the smaller screen, it's really intensive, so why don't you give that a try? Yeah, the reason these have come out is not just to cash in on the mini console craze.
Yeah.
It's to celebrate Sega's 60th anniversary, and there are some other things coming out which we'll look at on Fox Arcade in the future. But it's a bit of a half-truth that it's Sega's 60th anniversary, because Sega started out as a company called Service Games back in 1951. Some Americans started this company to provide servicemen, like armed forces, with coin-op machines. Games they could play whilst they weren't working, and that's why it was called Service Games, because they were providing games to the services. And over time they moved from doing this business in Hawaii over to Japan, and eventually the company was re-established as a Japanese company, and Service Games was abbreviated to Sega, and that's where that name comes from.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But based on that information, Sega is actually not 60 years old, it's 69 years old. What do you think of Gunstar Heroes there?
Yeah, it's working okay, but of course because you've got the diagonal and things, it's a little bit more fiddly, and I found that once or twice I've not been able to tell which character I am.
Yeah, and obviously because it's on Game Gear, it's a single player experience, and I think Gunstar Heroes is more fun with a friend as well, so
yeah,
it's this odd inclusion. I think this whole thing of them being super, super small, it's a deliberate joke. Mini consoles have been a thing for a while now, and here's a Game Gear that's so small that you can literally just fit it in a matchbox. And an added kind of joke to that is they put Gunstar Heroes on there because they know it's going to be insane and intense to play on such a small screen. It's commonly said that Japanese people like small, cute things. Whereas I think if you marketed this exactly as it is now in the West, people would see it as more of a rip-off, which I don't think is the case at all, really, when you get it in your hands and you play it and you see that it's quite fun. It'd be nice if it was bigger and more of a genuine mini Game Gear. That wouldn't be a bad thing, but I think that the joke would be missed in the West, and that's probably why they haven't done it, which is a shame, really, because they are actually really, really good.
They're fantastic, yeah.
Yeah. Today, while we've been filming, we've been munching on some jelly snakes.
Made by the Natural Confectionery Company. And they're extremely Moorish, so they're the kind of thing you take to the cinema and they're gone before the film starts.
Yes.
So you need 2 packs.
Trailers start and
and they're gone. Yeah. The build quality is really, really nice. And it actually has a good amount of weight, which I like. I would have expected it to be pretty much weightless, like a Tamagotchi or something like that.
It's got the ability to play off a USB power cable, so you can do a mains power thing. But the reason it's heavier is because its primary power supply is AAA.
So it's just
that's
the way of the battery.
Yeah, the battery life on the original Game Gear was about 3 hours off 6 AA's, right? If that.
Yeah.
This about the same. Yeah, you're probably seeing in the top right corner there's a white bar, which is overlaid. It would have been green, but it pops up to tell you've got low battery. But like I said, you can plug these into USB. So if you go in that drawer next to you, there's a couple of USB cables in there. What do you think of OutRun so far?
Yeah, it actually plays surprisingly well. The graphics look a little bit almost squished in this, but yeah, it plays fine. And actually, the draw distance is quite good. You can see what's coming up. The cars don't kind of jump out at you.
Yeah. And
the directions. Obviously you get the flashing direction pop up at the top of the screen as well, which definitely helps. But having seen the announcement videos of this console, I don't think I would have been able to. I would have thought it would have played badly, especially something like OutRun.
No.
But actually playing it.
And especially if you're still playing this in the dark, if you're in bed, which I've been doing, and that's the only thing you can see, it probably does...
You could play with it over your head, couldn't you?
It probably does horrible things to your eye sockets, but it's not difficult to look at. Oh, I think you should try Baku Baku as well.
Which one is it?
It's the one on the far right.
Oh, I thought so.
Yeah, I find Baku Baku easier to play than Puyo Puyo, because the little bean blobs in Puyo are not hard to see, but when they get close together, especially the purple and blue ones, they kind of mix a little bit too much. Whereas on Baku Baku, because you're looking at like rabbit heads and dogs and bones and bananas, it's really quite easy to play. And they do this thing in Baku Baku as well, is that because it's single player, there's no second player, they make the second player screen very, very small on the right side there. So you can see who you're attacking, but because there's never going to be anybody there, there's no multiplayer. They just enlarge your own play space, makes it a lot easier to play, and they didn't do that on Puyo. It's still like split screen effectively when you don't really need it to be.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, what do you think of Baku Baku?
Yeah, plays really well. Actually, it's very easy to see on the screen. You don't miss anything. It's a little hard to see the other player's screen, but as long as you see the level that it's on, how high it is.
Yeah, if they're filling up, then you're winning, and that's pretty much all you need to know. The specifics of what's going on there are not super important.
No. I'm not going to pretend to completely know what I'm doing, but I won. I was quite surprised to sit down and find you had these.
Well, they cost about £35 each. So to buy all of them, you're already looking at like 150 quid. Which
You've
is
got to be a
insane.
big fan, haven't you, really?
Especially when you consider that that big window mode is only available if you spend that 150, which I think is a bit of a con, frankly. They're also doing a special white one for a new Aleste Mushu game. M2 have literally made a brand new Mushu Game Gear game.
Wow.
And it's going to be in one of these. So if you buy a special edition of the Aleste collection in Japan, you'll get another Game Gear, but that's the only way you can get it, and that's extremely expensive too. So, although I appreciate the humour of these, I think there is a strong sell. So yeah, you got any other Game Gear thoughts you want to share?
No, I think we've kind of covered most things. Just that if you have any nostalgia for the system, then you should definitely pick up like one of them.
Yeah, if you're a hardcore Game Gear fan, don't overlook these because of the small size and think, oh, I can't even play it, it's too tiny.
No.
Once you have it in your hands and you pick up a game you're nostalgic for, all that just goes away, and it's really, really fun.
You definitely can play it with no issue.
Yeah.
And I think they're quite a good sort of conversation piece as well. That if you show someone one of these, who's also into gaming, they're not going to be able to help but get excited by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
Thank you.